Hello. The summer has summed, the days have labored, and we have got some bolder predictions for the upcoming September Basho. So throw!
Roll the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome back to the Dohyo here on Mr. JWags channel. We are back and we are ready with our trademarked bolder predictions for the upcoming September Basho. But first, a quick Sumo shout out. Sumo journalist from NHK and the Japan Times and friend of the channel, John Gunning, is back on Twitter. So for those of you interested in more John Gunning, more photos, more Sumo insight, check out @JohnGunningSumo at Twitter, or whatever the heck they're calling it now. Okay, so we are here and we're going to talk about this upcoming September tournament, but first we do have to talk about this banzuke. Now, for those of you who checked out the recap of the last July Basho, we were talking about how we weren't exactly sure how this banzuke was going to shake out. It turned out to be a little weird. In all my time watching sumo, I cannot remember a single time when a wrestler with a 6-9 record held rank, like not even just like a little bump down, but like just held rank at 6-9, and it has happened twice in this banzuke. Maegashira 13 Hokuto Fuji had a 6-9, stayed right there, didn't even lose half a rank, and then Nishiki Fuji at Maegashira 17 East, just holding on to that last part of the Makuuchi banzuke with a 6-9 held rank. So this appears unprecedented. I could not find another 6-9 holding rank. I definitely couldn't find two in the same banzuke. I mean, at that point, couldn't we just have over-promoted Shishi or something? Come on, people. Maegashira 10 Tamawashi will claim the consecutive matches record on day 3. But yeah, I know we mentioned this like a year ago, where it was like, if he stays healthy in the September Basho 2024 on day 3, he will pass the record for most consecutive matches in the ring without a Kyujo. Go get him, Tamawashi! I mean, this isn't that bold, considering he would literally have to hurt himself to the point where he couldn't step into the ring, so I think we're looking pretty good to see him on day 3 claiming that record. Now, as we all remember, Tamawashi did go COVID Kyujo in July of 2022, but the JSA has decided since he did not go Kyujo of his own volition, that one doesn't count. Of course, during COVID, a wrestler could not decide for themselves whether or not they wanted to go Kyujo. Tamawashi may not have even had symptomatic COVID at the time, but because someone in his stable did, he was forced to sit out. So Tamawashi, go get that record on day 3. And the bolder prediction, Terunofuji's gonna go Kyujo. Yeah. I'm not basing this on any news about Terunofuji being hurt in sort of the off-season. I am basing this on the recent history of Terunofuji, in that it is very difficult for me to remember the last time he completed 2 15-day tournaments in a row. So for me, the safe bet is Terunofuji's going to go Kyujo at some point in the next 2 weeks. Another interesting thing about this banzuke is that the Joy, the Maegashiras 1 through 4, seem to be a little more older and experienced than the people we currently have in the Sanyaku. But yeah, check it out. We got Mitake Yumi and Shodai and Wakamoto Haru down there. Seems we switched places with some of the young hotness that's currently up in the Sanyaku. So unfortunately, because I think the Sanyaku is going to be pretty strong again this tournament, I think from the Joy, that's Maegashiras 1 through 4, we are only going to get one winning record. Yeah. As I've said before, sumo is perfectly binary. You're going to get a win or you're going to get a loss. We're going to get a bunch of wins up at the top, and the loss has got to come from somewhere. I think most of them are going to come from the top of the Joy and the Maegashira ranks. This isn't to say that they're all going to get blown out. I think Atami Fuji's probably good for like a 7 again, but I don't see anyone really doing well up there, except my bolder prediction, Maegashira 1 Tobizaru. Yes, Tobizaru, the flying monkey. His sumo is a bit of the cartoon variety, and he is a little bit long in the tooth. Looked great in the last tournament, though. 9 and 6, facing largely the same people. I could see him getting 8 and 7 here. Now it's time for 3 Up, 3 Down, a recurring segment where we look at wrestlers who might be overranked or underranked in this banzuke, and how we think they're going to do. First on the 3 down, Maegashira 1 Takanosho. I'm not trying to like poop on Takanosho. I like Takanosho. He has had a wonderful career. He's even had some time where he was like a Sanyaku regular for about 4 tournaments, but that time seems to be past. Oh yeah, last time he did this well in the Joy, it was great. He got like a Kimboshi, he got a special prize, he got a Junyusho at 11-4, and then immediately it went Kyujo. And as we are 2 years further into his career, I don't see him necessarily getting better at this age or less prone to injury. I see Takanosho getting 5 or 6 wins at Maegashira 1. Next down, Maegashira 12, Bushozan. Now, y'all were right. Bushozan did, in fact, deserve an Uncle Sumo's attaboy in the last wrap-up episode, and I did not give him one. Bushozan achieved his very first Kachikoshi up in Makuuchi last tournament, and I just let it slide. Sorry about that. Congratulations, Bushozan. I don't think you're going to do very well in this next tournament. Now, he's only 28. There still could be a bump to his sumo. I just think that specific body type, Takakeisho accepted, is really hard to do winning sumo with. So we will see, but I do not have a lot of hope for Bushozan getting 2 consecutive Makuuchi Kachikoshi. Ooh, and this one really hurts. Maegashira 15, Takayasu. Yeah. So Takayasu is a favorite. He's been around forever. Former Ozeki. Goodness knows, I have said enough times, I really, really want this guy to get a Yusho, but at this point, I just don't think it's gonna happen. He's 34. He, hurt a chest muscle, which he says he's sort of back from, but, I don't think that a chest muscle is a thing yet. Bounce back from. 3 of his last 4 tournaments, he has gone Kyujo. He is at his lowest rank since May of 2011. Think about that for a hot second. Yeah, Takayasu did not spend a lot of time coming up through the lower ranks. In fact, right now he is in danger of falling back into Judyo, a rank that he has only held 3 times on a banzuke in his entire career. 3 times in Judyo. So as much as I have love for the hair bear, I do not think he is going to do well in this tournament. We should really just enjoy the Takayasu time we have. And now on a slightly happier note, the 3 up. Starting with Maegashira 7 and former champion Wakataka Kage. Wakataka Kage appears to be very close to completing his comeback from injury from last year. He's been looking very strong. He's had 2 consecutive tournaments of 10+ wins. I think he has returned to very close to what his former true talent level was. And even if it's not quite there, I think it's good enough to get him to contender and Sanyaku status. So yeah, my dark horse pick for Yusho in this tournament is Wakataka Kage cleaning things up at mid-Maegashira. Maegashira 14, Onokatsu. Now, I've been talking about him for a little bit, had my eye on him for a while. He has finally made his Makuuchi debut. He has looked strong in Judyo, so I am optimistic he will be getting 9 or more wins in his Makuuchi debut. Go get him, Onokatsu. And our final up, Maegashira 12, Kinbozan. Now, I have given up a little bit on Kinbozan. I no longer see him as rocketing up to the Sanyaku and hanging there for a while. But Maegashira 12 seems really low for him, and when he's ranked this low, he tends to bounce back pretty well. So I would expect Kinbozan to do very well in this tournament. Now it's time for the recurring segment, Which Way We Goin', where we look at wrestlers who might be at a crossroads at this point in this tournament, and we figure out which way they goin'. First up, our Maegashira's 2, Atami Fuji and Oho. Now, I mentioned before the Joy was looking a little long in the tooth, but these 2 guys are the ones keeping it young and keeping it fresh. And Kota Shoho, but we've given up a little hope on him too. But Atami Fuji is 21, Oho is 24, both ready to take another leap in their sumo. Is this going to be the tournament? Not optimistic. I'm probably expecting 6 or 7 wins from both of them in this tournament, but I am expecting more things from them later. Now, fortunately, they've both been in Makuuchi long enough where we can start to build a book on them and figure out which wrestlers are giving them trouble. Now, Atami Fuji definitely needs to improve against guys like Ono Sato, 0-2. Koto Zakata, 0-5 against him. 1-7 versus Hirado Umi. And 1-2 against Oho, who we're going to talk about in a second. So really, all Atami Fuji has to do is start getting wins against these guys maybe half the time, and he should be in the Sanyaku by the end of the year. But of course, easier said than done. And the splits for Oho are weirder. Oho is 4-2 against Ozeki Hoshoryu and 1-0 against Yokozuna Terunofuji, but he's also 2-6 versus Wakamoto Haru, 0-4 versus Kota Zakata, 0-4 versus Shonan no Umi, 0-2 versus Gonoyama, and weirdly, 0-8 versus Mitoryu. Atami Fuji, again, only 21, youngest member of the Joy. He always has a chance to break out. I still think it's going to take another couple tournaments to really have that, double-digit win breakout. And Oho, it's a little bit different where his losses are coming from, and he's been a little bit less consistent, and he's a little bit older. So of the 2, I'd say Atami Fuji's got the better chance, but Oho, still young enough to have that breakout. Sekiwake Kirishima, which way we goin'? Now this has to be the most awkward way to lose Ozeki. So he lost the rank, and instead of dropping all the way down to Maegashira, where he can make like a proper like I'm gonna make a comeback, I might win a Yusho down here at mid Maegashira. Like, no, he got 8 and 7 and is hanging right there at Sekiwake, just being like, hey, what's up? Still here. So yes, he didn't get the 10 wins in the previous tournament. He's now stuck at Sekiwake, but he's still clearly good enough to be up in the Sanyaku. Has the injury worm started to turn? Has he started to get better? Could we possibly see a re-attempt at Ozeki in the near future from Kirishima? I am eagerly awaiting his next chapter. And Judo 2 Shishi. Now, I've been talking about this giant Ukrainian for a while now, but he hasn't quite lived up to the hype that many others and myself have placed upon him. But in the last tournament, he ended up going 11 and 4. He's probably a 9 and 6 away from guaranteed promotion, something we now know he can definitely get considering the 11 and 4 he just got. At 27, Shishi would be a little bit of a late bloomer, but he does have the advantage of being huge, which, if nothing else, is a great sumo strategy by itself. Let's see if the hype pays off this tournament for Shishi. For our next bold prediction, we are going to have 5 demotable records from the Makuuchi division. Yeah. I just feel like we are at a time of transition in the Makuuchi and Judo banzuke. It's already started. We see a lot of our old Makuuchi favorites right now like dripping their way down the Judo banzuke, but I think we're going to see an acceleration after this tournament. We have a bunch of old favorites at the very bottom of the Maegashira ranks, and they are all coming off Makekoshi. And I'm not very optimistic about guys like Hokutofuji, Takayasu, we've already talked about, but also Sada no Umi, Takarafuji, all these guys down there. Yeah, I think we're going to lose 5. Like, we may not have 5 demotions, but we will have 5 records that are worthy of demotion. And the bolder prediction, the Judo Yusho will go to Judo 5 Hakuoho. The young hotness looks to be strong. After last tournament, he looks like he's ready to fight again at a top level, and he's just had a little more time to rest since then, so I expect him to be fighting, if not at top level, at least close enough to get that Judo Yusho. Next, bold prediction, Takakeisho will get a Makekoshi. Yeah. This isn't even going to be like Kirishima, where Kirishima got like the 8 and 7 is going to hang out. I got a feeling Takakeisho is he's going to tumble. If he stays in the tournament for all 15 days, I don't expect him getting more than 5 or 6 wins. He has looked really bad. Apparently, he's not been practicing very much. I just don't see him as at all ready to take on the best sumo wrestlers in the world for 2 weeks. And my bolder prediction is that Takakeisho will be the only member of the current Sanyaku to drop out of the Sanyaku for the next banzuke. Like I said, I think 5 or 6 wins from Takakeisho, and from Sekiwake, that should drop him down into the Maegashira ranks. Although after this banzuke, who knows? 6 and 9, stay at the rank. Now the real fun question will be, will anyone else come up to take his spot? Since we have 4 Sekiwake, we could just lose a Sekiwake and just keep things as they are. And as I've already predicted, I think Tobizaru is going to be the only person who might even possibly be able to be promoted into the Sanyaku. Alright. You've waited for it. It's time for the Yusho pick. My bold prediction is that we are going to have a playoff between multiple wrestlers who have a 12 and 3 record. Yeah, I don't see anyone getting up to 13 or 14 in this tournament. I feel that we've sort of locked into 12 as sort of the status quo for our recent Yusho. But I do expect multiple Rikishi to get up there. Oshoryu, I don't see quite yet. I expect him to get 9 or 10. Respectable, but not in contention. I do expect Wakataka Kage to be there until the final weekend. And Kota Zakata, even though he's had a few ankle issues in practice, I expect him to be right there on day 15 with the 12 wins, but I don't expect him to win. Sekiwake Onosato gets a 12 and 3 and gets promoted to Ozeki before November. Bam! That is your bolder prediction and your Yusho pick. Yeah, Onosato, he's got the youth, he's got the technique. I think he hit his very first ceiling in the last tournament, but I think he's going to learn from it and come back very strong. 12 wins and another Yusho for Onosato. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Dohyo, and thank you all for watching. August 31st was our most watched day ever, so thank everyone who was there for that and spending part of your day with us. If you can't get enough of Mr. JWags, come on down to the Second City, New York and catch a live show, or check me out at Thrash and Treasure, the other podcast I host. It'll be a lot of fun. So please stay tuned to the channel. We have got all of our September Basho coverage that you crave. We're going to have the mid-Basho quick strikes, and we're going to have the wrap-up at the end of the tournament, and then, of course, just continued coverage through November. You can't miss it. Price of free, people. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.